Hello everyone, what's up? On this video, I'm gonna be ranking the Predator weapons on Predator Hunting Grounds. After doing my Predator classes ranking video, I was asked by a few people that if I could do the same thing for the Predator weapons. I have already done a video like this, ranking the weapons, but ever since then they added, I believe, just the hook. I think the hook was the latest weapon that they added, but they buffed the plasma pistol, so that's gonna be there's gonna be those differences in regards to my original ranking. And I think when I made that ranking, it was also before they buffed the axe and the hammer and increased the speed, which led to a lot of people complaining about the weapons being too fast, whatever. But well, anyway, we're gonna be ranking here all the weapons in the game, which are not that many anyway. Like most of them are just like melee weapons that kind of work in the same function pretty much. We did never manage to get many ranger weapons that we wanted to. It's just very limited. The options for how to play as the Predator in this game have been very limited, despite some different changes. I mean, they tried to buff the pistol, like I mentioned, mainly because people complained that, like, oh, I mean, our only option for ranged weapons is either the caster or the bow. And then they said, oh, let's buff the pistol then to try to make it more viable to use in the game. And you know, it did help a little bit. As you guys know, I've been using the pistol ever since it was buffed way more. But still, like, I was hoping they would have added more weapons. But well, anyway, here is the ranking that I'm gonna be making. And for the tier at the bottom, the worst Predator weapons in the game are gonna be, of course, the wrist plates. Wrist plates only do 30 base damage. Of course, you can try to increase it by using a class that already does more melee damage, or put fearless, or try to use specializations that give a damage boost, like ghost, whatever. But still, like, it's just not effective. It's just very suicidal to go at like 4 fighting players with the wrist plates. I mean, it tends to be in general with many mid weapon, but with wrist play is just not worth it because the damage is just way too low. It's really for like even in 1v1 situations, depending on the class of the fighting. If they're like using something like a Dutch 87 or support with thick skin or heavy hitter, you're probably gonna lose the knife fight in most situations because in comparison to the damage of the knife, the fighting has the advantage there. Wrist play is just not that good. The tracking is not the worst one in the game, but still sometimes you don't hit it right. The best thing to use the wrist blades with is with combos, which is something that you use with the plasma pistol or the bow. Like you do one shot and then you just do a quick wrist blade slash. That's when you do it like that, then it can be useful because you're just stacking damage. You're doing a combo. You're shooting shooting the arrow, for example, and then you shoot the arrow and you follow it a wrist blade slash and you can do like 2 consecutive hits. You know, it's like a combo. In those situations, the wrist blades can be useful, but in just on their own, it's just terrible. Other weapon that belongs here is the War Club. War Club has been a meme. We have even called it the meme club ever since the game, ever since launch. It was called the meme club. I remember I tried to make this weapon work a few times. It was buffed because they added the blinding effect. I think they increased the damage. They made it the last combo attack, like of the combo that you can do, unparable because the fighting cannot parry. And also another problem, a wrist plate can be easily parried in many occasions, so another problem with it. The War Club, you can try the last combo, like I said, the last attack. The fighting cannot parry it, but still, like the tracking sometimes it can just like go way off. That's a problem with the melee weapons in this game is that sometimes the tracking can go way off, or sometimes it actually hits you where it shouldn't hit. It's just like very weird. The hitboxes of the melee weapons in this game can be really weird. But the original War Club has been quite a meme because it's slow, doesn't do that much damage unless you manage to hit the last attack. It's just like it tends to be easy to parry. There is that stunning effect that they added, kind of like blinds like the fighting, but still, I mean, I have a plenty of videos. If you guys search for War Club in my YouTube channel, you guys can see out the worst moments of Predators trying to use this weapon against me and others. For C tier, we're gonna have like, I think we should put the net gun here. Net gun is like a okay weapon, even at its best. The best thing to use the net gun is if you're gonna use like with the trapper perk. With the trapper perk, it makes it harder for the fighting to escape, but it's still like it's viable. Like it's gonna make it's only good for 1v1s, to be honest. I mean, on its own, like just net gun normally, even in 1v1s, it's kind of risky. I don't think it's that good. But with the trapper perk, it usually guarantees like a easy 1v1 situation because it takes longer for the fighting to escape. And if you are using like tactician or other specializations that increase the damage of the melee attacks, you throw the net gun, and if you follow with the wrist blades attack, you might be able to get him down. Or if you're using the perk fast hands, something that I did a while ago was with Cleopatra. I made a Cleopatra tactician build focus on using the net gun with fast hand spare, I would just throw the net gun and change it to another better melee weapon. I would change it to either the Alpha Sickle or the Elder Sword, and it would be just very easy to get someone down, because while they are trapped with the net gun, with the trap perk, it takes just, for most people, it's gonna take longer for them to escape. They have to stand still to be able to escape faster, and while they stand still, it's just very easy to hit them. But even then, on its own, the net gun just doesn't tend to be that good, especially because the fighting can dodge it, the fighting can, even there are occasions where the fighting can destroy the net before it reaches him, before it catches up to him. And in all these situations that I'm talking about, tends to be like in 1v1 situations. If you have 4 guys, if you jump close to four fighting players, even if you manage to net one guy, the amount of hits that you have to do to get him down, it's just gonna take way too long. It's gonna, the other 3 fighting players can easily second wind you before you manage to get him down. And that is only the case if you hit him with a net gun. You might be able to miss and just gonna lose all your HP in the process. So even if you catch someone with a net gun, and then you try to get him down, even if you change to a better melee weapon like the Sickle or the Axe, the other ones are the time that it takes to change to another weapon, throwing the net gun, changing to another weapon, and doing the melee attacks to get him down, plus quick claiming or trying to finish him down, it just takes way too long, and the other ones are gonna probably out damage you in the process. This weapon can be useful if you have like a lone chaser, or if there's like only one guy left at the chopper. At the chopper, you can try to use the net gun to prevent them from escaping. There are situations, but it's like too situational for me to bring it up. I prefer to bring another weapon that can be useful in more situations than just this one, which is only in certain situations that it can be fun and be good, you know. Next one, probably the hammer. I think, yeah, this one is the hammer, yeah. The hammer is like the worst axe. It's like, it kind of feels slower, and the tracking doesn't seem to be as good. The damage is a little bit similar to the axe, but it's still not as high. I think it does a little bit less damage than the axe, and it doesn't have the bleeding effect. It has like the blinding. It just gives like a stun to the fighting. Not really stun, because they can still move. It just like, it gives like this flash into the vision, so like they can be like blinded for a few seconds, and it just feels slower, doesn't do enough damage, and it's just, I don't know, it's like a worse version of the axe. If the axe is gonna be on B tier, the hammer should definitely be on C. Another weapon here, I'm gonna put the katana. It's a shame because I used to main katana for a while, like in my first year playing. After they released the katana that came with the samurai predator, it was actually okay by the time, but then again, it was before the fighting got the specialization, so the fighting damage couldn't stack up to the numbers that we have right now. It couldn't go that up, so it was, melee was more manageable to do, and the katana was bugged, which I didn't even know at the time. But if you try to alternate between the heavy and light attacks, it would stack up damage, would do more damage than was intended. Which why it was good, because it was actually only useful because it was bugged. But as of now, the katana doesn't do enough damage. I think overall it's like, oh, it's not that bad. I mean, not as wrist plays or the war club, because it does more damage. The tracking I think can be a little better. You can do like some fast attacks, but it's still just like a meh melee weapon. I mean, unless you think it looks cool, there's really no reason to use it over the other ones that I'm gonna be placing in the B tier, which is gonna be Elder Sword, the Hook, the Axe, and the Alpha Sickle. And I also Combo Stick, but I'm gonna talk about the Combo Stick later. These ones here I'm gonna talk first because they all work in the same way. They're just like good melee weapons. I mean, as good as melee can be on this game, but whatever. They are like overall like decent melee weapons that can really make you win 1v1s easy. 1v2s depends a little bit, but when you have like 3 or 4 fighting players, it's gonna be really hard if they are all hitting at you. Because even if you try to focus on getting one guy down with one of these weapons, even if you are like try to not only they have like overall like good damage for each one of their attacks, some of them have better speed or more damage than others, but overall they work pretty well. Like the Elder Sword tends to be still fast. It has like good tracking overall. The Hook can be really fast. They has like really crazy speed, and the heavy attack can do a good amount of damage. The Axe is very controversial. A lot of people hate the Axe. They still complaining even to this day. They call it overpowered, this and whatever, because of the really high damage of the heavy attack. Which I think, yeah, I get it. The heavy attack can do an absurd amount of damage, especially if you like stack up like with a class that can do more melee damage by passive. You put Fearless, you put Ghost, like Samurai. I remember like Samurai Ghost with Fearless. You could do like 146 damage or something like that with the Axe, and you could like one-shot classes with this thing. I get it. It can do an insane amount of damage, but the fighting can also do an insane amount of damage to the Predator. It can second in the Predator in like 2-3 seconds. So like, the only way for a melee weapon to work in this game is if you can like one-shot fighting players, at least against a full squad. otherwise it would be impossible. And even then, in most situations that I've seen, people trying to axe in privates, it usually doesn't go well, because even if you hit it, you still like have other people shoot at you, you have to go for the quick claim, which might sacrifice your second wind. And that is the case, and that is the situation if you don't miss, because you can miss the heavy attack. It's possible for many fighting classes to dodge that attack, and if they dodge it, they can just keep shooting you, and I had occasions where the guy he missed the heavy attack on me like 3 times in a row, and I took like all his HP in the process. So I feel like the axe is really a hit or miss. Like, either if you manage to get a hit, you're gonna get some high damage on the fighting, but if you miss, you're kinda screwed in many situations. You're just gonna get melted and lose all your HP in the process. It's just really about luck. I feel like the axe, out of these weapons here, the axe is the one that relies the most on luck and the crazy tracking, because sometimes the tracking can be way off. I've seen people that clearly dodged the axe and still got hit, and still got the damage from it, and I had people that, like, I hit them with the axe head on, the axe literally hit them, and still the damage didn't register. Problems because of some bugs related to the hitboxes and how things go in the game, whatever. But I would say that out of this weapon, the axe might seem like it's the best one for a lot of people because of the high damage that it can do. But I feel like it relies too much on luck. It's just like the tracking can either help you, or it can end up like doing the opposite and getting in your way. But the other one, they are all functioned the same way. I would say the best one of this are actually the Alpha Sickle, because the Alpha Sickle has a good amount of speed damage, and different from the other ones, the parry stun is the one that lasts the least amount of time. I don't think the heavy attack of I think both the hook and the axe, the heavy attack is unparable, might be. I don't remember if I ever seen someone parry those, but if you try to follow with a light attack, the people can parry it, and many occasions I saw people try to go with the heavy with the axe, they end up missing, or even if they hit, but then they follow with a light attack, and the fighting parries it, and while they get parried, they get stunned for like 1 second or 2, and the rest of the fighting just melts them into second wind. With the Alpha Sickle, the parry stun, I don't know if this is intentional or it could just be a bug that I thought I can never fix it, but when you get parried with the Alpha Sickle, you can attack it right away in like in half of a second. The parry stun lasts less time than with the other weapons, and it is noticeable. For those of you that have tried all these weapons, for me, I always noticed that. And it's usually fast, the tracking is okay, it can do a good amount of damage. The Alpha Sickle for me is the best melee weapon in the game. As long as you're like using ghosts or something like that, it's just gonna get the job done as far as melee weapons go in this game. In comparison to the Elder Sword, definitely, they are both like fast. I mean, Elder Sword and Hook are both fast weapons, and the Hook has the option of a heavy attack. But I feel like sometimes because of the parry thing, and also because of some of the fighting classes or some of the fighting damage, they might not do as much of a good job, but I think that overall, they all can be placed in the same tier. I'm also gonna put on B the Combo Stick. Combo Stick might be better, could be in A tier, or like in a B plus tier, but it's more useful when you are using it together with the Plasma Pistol or the bow, like for combos, which I'm gonna be talking more when I go up to the Plasma Pistol and bow. But with the combos, which is like the thing when you throw the combo and to try to follow it right away with another weapon, it can be better, because you can change it between the combo stick to the other ranged weapons faster than you do it for other weapons, and your combo stick can be used for both melee, which melee is not very good for the combo. Tends to be very easy to parry. The only good thing is that the range of it is quite good. You can like hit in a higher area of effect of the melee attacks is higher, and also you can hit multiple fighting players with it. But besides that, it's just not very good for melee. It's better just mainly for throwing and use it in combos, but on its own, I think it's B tier. With the combos, it can be like a B+. If you're using the combo stick together with the pistol or the bow, it definitely can be very useful, because like you get, like in the situations where you guys seen in my videos of me getting someone to trap, I just throw the combo and follow with arrow very fast, usually gonna down people, just because of the higher damage. Instead of like trying to get someone that is trapped only with the bow or only with the pistol, it takes more shots than just doing the combo and following it with either one of those weapons, because the combo throw does more damage than either the Plasma Pistol or the bow. But the combo stick is very good, mainly while using other weapons. In tier A is gonna be the Plasma Pistol and the bow. I think they are both very effective. They are just very good weapons. They do a good amount of damage. They can be used from far, up close. Like they can be used in like from all ranges pretty much. You can use them from very far. You can use them from mid range. You can use for close range. Especially the pistol. The pistol is kind of like like when they buffed it, a lot of people compare it to like a shotgun. It might have like a recoil that get a little bit on the way, but it kind of works like a shotgun. Like it does more damage than the bow in comparison, but the bow does have the variation of the headshot damage and the charged shots. But it does take, the charged shots take longer to charge, you have to time usually it's more for far range, you know. And the headshots is not something that you can pull it in every single time. If you get the headshots, great, that's great, because the extra damage will allow you to get fighting players down with less hits. But the plasma pistol, you don't have to worry about that. The damage tends to be, but the damage of the plasma pistol tends to not be so consistent, because when you shoot the plasma pistol, it fires like 3 little plasma bolts, whatever, and sometimes you don't get all the hits. If you get all the 3 plasma bolts on the fireteam, whatever, it's gonna do a really high amount of damage. But if you only get like a portion of them, it's not gonna do so. The damage varies. With the bow, I mean, of course, it changes from the head, from the body, but the damage tends to be like around the same for those situations. While with the plasma pistol, depending on how much plasma you got on the person, it's gonna vary. And also there's the splash damage. It does a little bit of splash damage, not as much as the plasma caster, but still it can be useful in certain situations. I feel like the pistol is definitely superior to finishing down at fighting players. That's usually what I like it using for. If you're gonna come in close, if you got someone down and you're just jumping up close, if you want to finish him down, with the plasma pistol it can be done better, because like it just overall to the down fighting players, it just does more damage. It's very effective. And the another advantage of the plasma pistol, it has like infinite ammo, kind of. Sure, you have to reload after 8 shots. With the bow you don't have to worry about that, but with the bow you have 30 arrows, and sometimes you use them now, you have to go get every single one of them back again. Was one of the reasons why I ended up going for the pistol more over the last months, because I was just lazy to go get all my arrows back. I didn't always enjoy using the bow, but the whole thing about like losing arrows, having to go get every single one of them back, it was just like, I was like not in the mood for that. The pistol was just overall easier to use, because I didn't have to worry about ammo, just reload. Of course, reloading can sometimes kill you. If you run out of ammo on your clip at the wrong time, you won't be able to secure a kill, you might just die in the process, the fighting is gonna shoot you while you have to reload your weapon. But still, you have to just pay attention to that stuff. But overall, they are just very good, effective weapons. They are really among the best weapons in the game. If you want to go against good fighting players, these are the weapons that you should probably use for sure. And the pistol has been very effective for me specifically from the branches. With the bow, I feel like it's harder to hit the fighting the further away they are from you with the bow, sure. But with the pistol, I feel like it tends to be better. Even though the pistol from far, because of the spread of the plasma that comes out of it, the damage is lower. I mean, the damage of the pistol is like a shotgun, so up close at point blank it does definitely more damage than it does from like shooting from far from the branches. But still, I just feel it's very effective because I can get a little bit of damage here and there. It's as long as you're getting consecutive shots, you can get some fighting classes down quite fast. Even though it doesn't do as much damage as up close. For S tier, it should come as no one's surprise that it's gonna be the Smart Disc and the Plasma Caster. Sure, the Smart Disc has more potential to be stronger than the Plasma Caster. It does have like, because the Plasma Caster still relies on the fighting, the Predator exposing himself on the field of view of the fighting. To be able to hit the fighting with the Plasma Caster, you're gonna have to show yourself to the fighting, unless you're like trying to just hit them while they're hiding in the building with the splash damage. But usually, if you want to hit them in the open, you have to show yourself. And when you show yourself, the laser is gonna show up. The fighting has many ways to counter the Plasma Caster. It's just more easy to just get in cover, just trying to hit the Predator, spot the laser, and trying to shoot the Predator, or just shoot the mask off. Another problem is that the Plasma Caster relies on having your mask on, you know. But the good thing about the Plasma Caster is that it's not as heavily affected by the ping as the Smart Disc is, because the Smart Disc, like if you have like over 100 ping, it's just like a useless weapon. Pretty much, it's just painful to use. It's very hard to use the Smart Disc. Or the Plasma Caster, not only it's easier to hit with the fighting with it, but it also has the splash damage. You can also, even if it's not a direct hit, you're still gonna be able to do damage with the Plasma Caster. So there is that advantage. And also there is the problem that the Smart Disc is not everyone that has the means to use it well. Because to use the Smart Disc in the way that like I use, you need to like have a mouse that can increase the sensitivity, or you need to play in a PS5. From what I heard from people, using the Smart Disc on PS4 tends to be very bad. It just doesn't work very well. You need to increase the sensitivity. And not everybody has a PS5 or is playing this game on a PS5 or is playing on PC and has a mouse that can increase the DPI, the sensitivity, so you can turn it around fast. The Smart Disc can be quite OP, mainly on private games, because you have 0 ping. You can just, the game flows very better because you're just hosting the match. It's from your connection. and you can turn the smart desk multiple times in the air, like you can like do multiple hits. Something that it can do, and you can do all of that while the Predator is protected. Sure, the fighting can have ways to counter that. You just have to do something to the Predator. As long as you damage the Predator in any way, it's gonna cancel the flight animation of the smart desk. You just have to throw a flashbang, ACG, a grenade, or just shoot him if he's exposed. But then again, the Predator can always find good spots to use the smart desk, while he cannot be so easily stopped by or touched by the fighting. And while he's doing that in cover, while away from the field of view of the fighting, he can do something that I like to call the 4-hit combo, which is that you hit a fighting twice while they're standing, and then two more times while they're down, and it's an insta-kill. Like, you can literally kill fighting, or even multiple fighting players, while the smart desk is flying, and the Predator can take like no damage at all in the process. You can just take multiple fighting players, kill multiple fighting players, and the Predator gets no damage because he doesn't have to actually expose himself. But then again, the smart desk capacity to be overpowered relies on several factors, like the ping, whatever platform you're using, how you're using, you know, which is not available for everybody. You know, the smart desk relies on certain conditions to be really overpowered. While the plasma caster is just overall good. Like even in bad situations, like in the worst situations in the game, if you are playing like in night map, which I note that the laser of the plasma caster stands way too much in night map, so even in night map it's bad. But if you're like playing night map with high ping, all you have is your plasma caster pretty much. I mean, you can try to go for melee, but as against a good squad, that's gonna be suicidal. Maybe for the last guy, you might want to kill the first guys with the plasma caster, and then save the last guy to try to use either the Alpha Secret, the Axe, or the Net Gun with the Trapper perk, whatever. But the ping is gonna affect the shots from the plasma pistol and the bow. It's gonna make them unusable, or it's gonna be way frustrating for you to use it. The smart desk is gonna be complete shit. The plasma caster is gonna be all you have to really try to get a kill, just try to damage. Of course, like I said, in night maps, it's gonna be very easy to spot the laser, but you're just gonna have to go around. You're gonna have to find ways, positionings, angles to hide your laser, so you can try to get a direct charged shot on the fighting to try to get a player down, whatever. But it is gonna be hard for sure. But still, like the plasma caster sometimes is like all you have. And sure, it's gonna become useless if you lose your mask, at least from like far range, because you lose the laser. But that's why you use protection. That's why like I use it like Bionic or Scar Stalker, which is a specialization that is mainly used for plasma weapons, with the protection perk, so you don't have to worry about ever losing the capacity to use the plasma caster, which is the Predator's best friend in the game. Your best friend is right on your shoulder. Never forget that the plasma caster can be always there for you when you really need it. But well, I think this is it overall. It's more or less what you guys probably should expect, because I already mentioned in many videos when people ask me what is my opinion and of everything in regards to each one of the Predator weapons. And well, this is it guys. I hope you guys enjoyed. See you next time.